October 8th, 10 a.m. District Court. Courtroom number 4.
Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Your opening statement, please.
The prosecution will show the court that at 2:30 p.m. on October 15, the defendant, Mr. Will Powers, killed fellow actor Jack Hammer in Studio 1 of Global Studios. It is impossible for anyone else to have committed this heinous crime. The evidence presented during the trial will all point to this fact.
I see. Very well. I would like to move on to some testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution may call its first witness.
Very well. I call a most familiar face, Detective Gumshoe, to the stand. Detective, if you would briefly describe this case to the court.
Yes, sir. I'll explain with the guide map here. To understand this case, it's important to grasp the layout of the studio, see? This here is the employee area. The actors did a run-through of the action scene during the morning here. This is the main gate to the studios. The security lady that worked at the studio was here at 1 p.m. on that day. Past the security station, there's a gate, see? Past that of the studios. And here it is, the Studio 1. This is the scene of the murder where the body was found. Now, on the day of the murder, October 15th, there were only 3 people here. The victim, Jack Hammer, offended, Will Powers, and a young woman, the production assistant. All the production staff were in the employee area until noon. Right after lunch, the victim, Jack Hammer, went to Studio 1. Right after that, at 1 p.m., the security lady got to the gas station. Now, jump ahead to later to that day, 5 p.m. The production staff came to Studio 1 to perform a rehearsal. Needless to say, the rehearsal was cancelled. The time of death was 2:30 p.m. The samurai spear found lodged in the victim's chest was the murder weapon. That's the case in brief. Anyone would like to hear that again?
Should I listen to that whole thing again?
Nah, we'll be fine. I think I can probably remember that. First, we should probably go through our court record. Let's see, 10:15, 2:30 p.m., pierced to the chest by a spear. Got back to Global Studios. Card key for studio employees. And a photo. Taken at the gate between the entrance and the studios.
So the murder weapon was a spear? How medieval.
Samurai spear added to the court record. This spear was found stuck in the chest of the victim.
Your Honor, this case is quite simple if you ask one question. And that question is, what did the security lady at the guard station see?
Understood.
Let's call this security officer to the stand. Will the witness declare her name?
Why, aren't you a handsome fellow? I'm afraid I'm a bit flustered.
Your name, please.
Oh, dearie, no need for you to be so embarrassed. Just call me Grandma.
Your name, please.
Seems Edgeworth has a bit of trouble getting his witness to say their names.
Wendy Oldback, dearie.
So just call me Grandma. It's practically my name. Even when I was young, I was just an old bag, but not really. It still has children would make fun of me. Oh god, this is getting so quick. Call me an old bag, and well, I cried and cried because...
Objection! I object to the witness's talkativeness.
Objection sustained. The witness will refrain from rambling on the stand.
I was just getting to the good part, dearie.
Perhaps we can get to the testimony.
Now, the witness was stationed at the main gate on the day of the murder, correct?
Yes, see, I was.
And to get to the scene of the murder, someone would have to pass by.
Wow, judge is on point today. They should have a character for the judge.
Sure know your stuff, dearie.
You may begin your testimony.
He sure is one hell of an old bag.
Witness account. On the day of the murder, I arrived at the guard station at 1 p.m. Poor old Hammer and the rest have been doing a run through there since the morning. I had some errands to run that morning. Anyway, it was 1 when I got to the guard station. I was at the main gate from then until 5. And now the murder happened at 2:30 p.m., right? Interesting to me because a certain man walked by me at 2 p.m. It was Powers, that man right there, and he was heading towards his studio.
You saw the defendant then? Very well, let's begin the cross-examination. Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor. Two, you're sure?
Sure, it's spit.
Well, who was the man?
Really, you should try not to get so excited at your age. You might strain something. Now, don't get your skivvies all in a bunch. I'll tell you who it was. It was Powers, that man right there.
I feel like there's something to press here. So you saw Mr. Powers?
That's what I said. Got marks in your ears, Sonny. Nick, this is your chance.
Yeah, time to pull out the secret weapon.
It was Powers, that man right there, and he was heading towards a studio.
You can't tell that's Powers. That's just a costume. Let me get this straight, old bag, Miss Old Bag. You've been saying since yesterday that you saw Mr. Powers, correct? But you're talking about the man in this photo, aren't you?
Just a moment, Mr. Wright. Let me see that photo. What is this exactly?
None other than the Steel Samurai, defender of Neo Old Tokyo. Miss Old Bag, is this the Mr. Powers that you saw?
Of course. Did your mama teach you any sense, Sonny? Anyone can plainly see that's Powers, right?
No, they can't. Well, I wonder. True, Mr. Powers does play the role of the Steel Samurai. But that does not mean that Mr. Powers is the Steel Samurai.
I know that. I wasn't born yesterday.
No one in this court is accusing you of that, Miss Witness.
He's having trouble calling her Old Bag, apparently.
However, you do not have proof that the person in this photo is Mr. Will Powers, do you?
Nosy old man. Of course I have proof.
What? Oh, even Edgewood is surprised. The prosecution would like to ask the witness. Please make known all the information in your possession ahead of time.
Tried to know everyone would be so nosy. You should be ashamed, all of you. Anyway, I showed that photo to the young detective. He told me this isn't any good as evidence, pal. He didn't even give it a second look.
Wow, old Windback has left even Edgeworth speechless. She's good.
Let's hear about your proof, then.
The man in the photo.
Never say anything I don't mean, mind you. That morning during the run through the action scene, I saw Powers trip and fall. He broke one of the props. It was a big mess. Apparently, he sprained his ankle pretty bad. Wow, look at that picture. You can see he's dragging his legs, see? Clear as day. That's how I knew it was Powers. Happy?
So he had sprained his ankle? Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness.
She's got to be hiding something. I'll press her until she squeals. I think we already found something we can press her on. He broke a prop.
Sure did. His own samurai spear.
Samurai spear, the murder weapon.
Luckily, I was there with my duct tape to fix it.
It strikes me as a significant detail. I better write this down in the court record. Samurai spear. A break in the shaft has been mended with duct tape.
Apparently, he sprained his ankle pretty bad.
Well, this prop doesn't look broken to me. Damn, that was not the right evidence. Was Mr. Powers' ankle badly sprained?
Not so bad he couldn't walk around. He went to his dressing room to rest up after lunch.
Less than now.
Anyway, I saw him dragging his foot and he walked.
Dragging his foot, okay. Are you absolutely sure? Let's take a look at that picture again. So he was walking strangely because he was injured.
It does look like he was dragging his foot.
See? And you didn't trust me, whippersnapper. Still, you can't look at this and say it's Mr. Powers.
Yes, but only Mr. Powers would have been dragging his leg.
He has a point. It would seem quite likely that it was Powers.
There's gotta be more to this. I better keep pressing her. Any glaring contradictions? Well, she's pretty sure it was Powers in that photo. I guess I'll have to press her, see if I can shake her conviction. Who's that the witness? Who was present at the run-through?
Well, let's see. There was Powers, he's a Steel Samurai. And then poor old Hammer, the evil magistrate. And me.
And what exactly were you doing?
Observing, just observing.
What about the assistant?
Oh, she was off moving backdrops around and such.
But she didn't see the run-through then. Trip and fall.
Yes, and to think he's supposed to be the Steel Samurai. What a laugh. So Powers sprained his ankle. I helped make it better for him, of course.
You helped make it better?
I kissed it where it hurt.
Let's just skip over that part, shall we?
Where was the assistant then?
Oh, her. She was cleaning up backdrops, I think. She didn't know about Powers' ankle.
I think we heard enough. Haven't we, Your Honor?
Well, there is one thing that bothers me.
Which is?
Where is his steel samurai costume now?
Actually, well, we couldn't find it. We're looking, though. Anyway, that's not important. The witness did see the steel samurai, yes? And it is clear that the person in the steel samurai suit was Mr. Will Powers.
I suppose that's right.
You're sure, Your Honor?
Wait and see what happens. I think I'll wait and see where this goes.
I suppose there weren't any additional crew members at the studios that day. It's quite likely that it was the defendant inside that costume. I see no problem with this evidence.
Most perceptive, Your Honor.
Still doesn't seem that convinced to me. No.
Will the witness continue her testimony, please?
Witness's account continued. The time of Oro Hammer's death was 2:30 p.m., true? The only person I saw go to the studio before then was Will Powers. No one else went there. If they had, I would have seen them.
So if no one else went to the studio, then it would have to be the steel samurai who did it. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Are you absolutely sure? Oh, quite, son. Nobody suspicious looking passed by at all.
Nobody suspicious looking, right?
What about before you got to the guard station? You mean before 1? Why, everyone was in the employee area before then. And I locked the main gate so no one could get in. Not to mention, if they had, I would have seen them.
Are you sure? The witness has answered the question. Anyone going into the studio had to pass by the witness.
That's right, Sonny. You let him have it, edgy boy.
Edgy boy?
Old Windbag sure has balls, or, well, you know what I mean. Old Windbags have a way of skipping over important details after all. Or, for that matter, entirely forgetting them. How convenient.
Well, it's at photo number 2, so maybe this is where we use it. There has to be a first photo. Hold on! Look at this photograph one more time. This photo was taken by the camera at the gate for the studios, correct?
Yes, sirree, Sonny.
So, whenever anyone passes by here, it automatically takes a picture.
And here I thought you didn't know your head from a hole in the ground.
Right. Anyway, it's also true that the computer in the guard station records all security cam data.
Ooh, you know, if you wanted to work at this studio, we might have an opening.
That very computer printed out this photo. Note that on the back of the photo are printed the words October 15th, 2 p.m., photo number 2.
Even I know that means it was taken at 2 p.m. on October the 15th. Really, Sonny?
Actually, I knew that too. The issue here is a bit at the end where it says photo number 2.
Photo number 2.
The computer only held data for one photo on that day. Don't you think that's odd? Shouldn't this photo be photo number 1 if it was the only photo?
Order! Order! Please tell the court what you mean by this, Mr. Wright.
Actually, that's what I want to ask the witness. This evidence shows that not 1, but 2 people went to the studio that day. Yet there is only data for one of the photos. Who could have erased the data for the other photo? Only someone with access, the security lady herself.
Eh? Me? You watch your mouth, whippersnapper. The only person I saw that day was Will Powers.
But the camera on the gate fired twice. That means 2 people went by.
Well, yes, that's what it would seem to mean.
Can the witness explain this to the court?
I don't understand these newfangled computer things. Edgy boy, help.
Believe me, I want to, but I don't know what this means either.
Some help you are. You're a whippersnapper too. Whippersnapper?
Something the matter, Miss Oldbag?
That's right. I just remembered something.
Let me guess. Someone else passed by the gate. Someone other than the Steel Samurai?
Well, yes, I suppose you could put it that way.
Oh, I see. Your testimony, please.
The other person.
Every day after I finish my guard duties, I have one other important job to do. I go through the photos recorded on the security computer and check them. I throw out any photos that aren't suspicious looking, you see. Come to think of it, I remember throwing out one photo that day.
Miss Oldbag, this is the first I've heard of this.
Well, of course, Sonny. I've only just remembered it.
Right. Anyway, Mr. Wright, please begin the cross-examination.
Well, I'd say this was a turn for the unexpected, but I kind of expected this. Well, who in the heck was in that photo you erased?
A fanboy.
Fanboy?
Steel Samurai fanboys. Real freaks if you ask me. They get information about the rehearsal from gosh knows where. They're always hanging about. One was there that day.
Well, wait a second. Didn't you say no one else could get in? I locked the main gate so no one could get in. Those were your words.
Well, if you must know, there's a drain that goes into the employee area. The grate has been loose for a while. It leads outside and, well, that's where they come in.
They come in through the drain?
I told you they were freaks. Oh, and they're kids. Children. Whippersnappers.
Kids? So on the photo that you erased,
It was a boy, probably 2nd or 3rd grade.
what?
Order! Order! Let me get this straight. You saw 2 people pass by the gate on their way to the studios that day. One was a Steel Samurai dragging his leg. The other was a boy who looked to be in about 2nd or 3rd grade.
Oh, yes. Well, we see his type there every day. Can't stop him, can't catch him.
A boy in the 2nd or 3rd grade? I assume it will be hard, if not impossible, for a young boy to wield a samurai spear.
Impossible, I think. It's quite heavy.
Right. As I said, I didn't pay him much mind. That's why I erased the data. Nick, what's going on? I mean, the boy was there. That makes him a suspect.
Yeah, and they're already trying to unsuspect him.
This court will take a 5-minute recess. I want the defense and the prosecution to consider this new information. And no forgetting vital information this time.
October 18th, 11:08 a.m. District Court. Defendant Lobby, number 3. Mr. Powers?
Yes?
Tell me straight. Were you really in your dressing room? You didn't go into the studio.
I didn't go into the studio. I was sleeping, honest.
So who was the Steel Samurai in that security photo?
How should I know? The Steel Samurai costume is off in the corner of the dressing room. Anyone could have walked in and taken it, really.
What? You should take better care of that stuff.
I couldn't imagine anyone would want to steal a Steel Samurai costume. So, where does this leave me? It doesn't look good. Oh. You're the only likely suspect right now.
Nick! But what are we going to do?
First, we play for more time. We'll start targeting someone else that could conceivably have done this.
Right. And it'll take them so long to shoot us down that we can get another day.
Right, but if we pick the wrong person, we might lose on the spot. You don't sound very optimistic. I'm not optimistic at all, actually.
Hey Nick, it's time.
Okay, let's go. Ugh. What does that mean? Please don't sigh like that.
Court will now reconvene for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. Mr. Edgeworth, will you present the prosecution's thoughts on this matter?
The prosecution's thoughts are simple. Nothing has changed. The other person who went to the studio was a boy of roughly 10 years of age. The photo we do have may not be hard evidence. But there is still no one else that could have committed this crime. I call for a verdict of guilty for the defendant, Mr. Will Powers.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Your thoughts?
The defense disagrees with the prosecution's claim. There is another person who could have committed this crime.
Order! Interesting. Let us hear who you have in mind. However, be aware that this court does not look kindly on accusing the innocent. If you accuse someone who is obviously innocent, you will be penalized.
Right, great, that's if the stakes weren't high enough.
So who was this person other than Mr. Powers that could have committed this murder?
The security lady! It was a security lady! Wendy Oldbag!
Who?
The Steel Samurai is dragging his leg in this picture. That means whoever was in the suit knew about that morning's injury. Maybe because they had been watching the action scene run through. There was only one person other than Powers and Hammer who knew about the injury. The security lady, Oldbag.
What? Whippersnapper.
Order! Order! Is this true, Oldbag?
Oldbag? That's Miss Oldbag to you.
Miss Oldbag was standing guard alone at the main gate. She was by herself. In other words, she has no alibi. She could have briefly left her post to steal the Steel Samurai costume, then slipped into Studio 1, the scene of the murder.
Why would she go through the trouble of wearing the Steel Samurai costume?
Simple, Your Honor. She knew the camera at the gate would take her picture. If she was in his costume, she could point a finger at Mr. Powers.
I see. Excellent deductive reasoning, Mr. Wright.
Oh yeah, right here. Sherlock Holmes 2, baby.
Huh? That's odd. Isn't this the part where Edgeworth pounces? Doesn't he usually jump up with an objection and some new damning evidence?
Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, does the prosecution have an opinion on this matter?
The prosecution has no meaningful objections at this time.
What? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, so you all think I did it? Is that it? Edgy boy, don't just sit there. Do something.
What's my move? Maybe now's a chance to take this whole way?
Press further.
The very same reasoning that makes Mr. Powers a suspect in this case can be used to cast doubt on Miss Oldbag's actions on that day.
Why would I do something so horrible to poor Hammer?
You forget that Mr. Powers lacks a clear motive too.
Indeed.
That did it. Now Windbag is one of the suspects. No hard feelings, I hope.
Wait just a minute. What about the other person who went to the studio? The boy, the one whose photo I erased.
He's only a grade schooler, though, as you said. Second or third grade, was it?
Does it matter? When I was that age, I could pin my old man in 10 seconds tops.
Your thoughts, Mr. Wright?
That boy is not the killer.
What? How can you be so sure? Oh, it's just nice to the kids and you mean to your Elder's Day, whippersnapper.
I have proof.
Proof?
Indeed, and let's see this proof, Mr. Wright. You have proof that shows the boy could not have committed this murder.
Do I? Well, it's a cost. I guess the costume would be too tall for a child.
Take that!
Your Honor? The murder weapon was the samurai spear. That very spear is shown here in this photo. How could the boy have taken the spear? It's impossible.
I see. Would the witness care to comment on this?
The windbag, speechless. This has got to be a first.
Very well. This court will suspend proceedings on the current trial for today. Mr. Edgeworth, please find out more about your witness, Miss Windy... what was her name?
Something Oldbag, Your Honor.
Then the prosecution will look further into this old bag before we continue. That is all. This court is adjourned.
Wait a second. I'm not going to just sit here while you run off barking at the wrong tree. Me! I'm talking.
Oh, great. Stop the presses. The windbag wants to talk.
Miss Oldbag, what is this all about? Have you omitted something from your testimony?
Actually, if you must know, there's something I was told not to talk about.
Not to talk about?
By whom?
Not Edgeworth, huh? It wasn't Edgeworth who told her not to talk?
Well, testify.
My lips were sealed.
Global Studios wanted me to keep quiet about something. There were some other people at the studios on the day of the murder. They said they had nothing to do with this, see? So they told me to just pretend they hadn't been at the studios that day. But if they're gonna go with kissing me, I'm not letting them get away scot-free.
Miss Oldbag, this is crucial information. Why did you keep this from the court until now?
Ain't you been listening? They told me to shut my trap, and I always do what I'm told.
No, this isn't a bad dream, Your Honor. Witness the power of the old bag.
Mr. Wright, your cross-examination?
Who were these people?
Well, the director and the producer, for starters.
The director? We should have known something was fishy. How could they have done a run-through of their action scene without the director? Of course!
Yes, well, I was surprised no one asked about it.
So, where were these people?
The director was in the employee area all morning for the run-through. He joined the producer around lunchtime and they had a meeting after that.
Where?
Oh, in the Studio 2 trailer.
Studio 2? There was a Studio 2?
Well, if you look at the guide map. Here it is. Going through the gate and all the way to the left.
The path where the monkey's head was fallen over.
Oh, Mr. Wright, would you like to continue the cross-examination?
I think I've already asked all my questions, but... continue anyway. Miss Oldback, this is a trial for murder!
I know that's silly. Still, they were pretty convincing about having nothing to do with it. And they gave me a little bonus on the side.
So you got your bonus and you still talked. Continue cross-examination. No harm in getting as much info as I can. So they were actually in the studio.
Yes, the whole day. When they heard about the murder, they beat it before the cops came.
I'll kill this woman, I swear it. I feel sorry for Edgeworth, almost. She really left him hanging on this one. Them? Oh, we already went through this one. Your Honor, we have learned that there were others at Global Studios on the day in question. The director and the producer and, some bigwigs were all present. Yet as we stand here, they have not been questioned. I hold that it is impossible to declare a verdict on the defendant, Mr. Powers.
The court acknowledges the defense's point. The prosecution will gather more information about the witness, Miss Oldbag, and more information about these other people we have just been told of.
I understand, Your Honor.
This ends today's proceedings in the trial of Mr. Will Powers. That is all. The court is adjourned.
October 18th, 1:04 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 3. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. I was right to ask you to defend me.
Aw, really, it's nothing.
Grin.
Oh, or should I...
We'll be going down to the studio to do some more investigating. We have to find out more about this director and producer. They'll be turning up in the next trial as witnesses for certain. So now's my chance to get material for the cross-examination.
So, Nick, have we figured out about who it was in that Steel Samurai costume?
Could it really have been Old Windbag? What do you think, Mr. Powers? I don't think it was her, really.
Neither do I, Nick.
Yeah, I know. Look, I was just buying time back there. Someone had to be the bad guy for a bit to take the pressure off of Mr. Powers.
Poor Old Windbag. I feel kinda sorry for her.
Oh, she wasn't winning any points in there with or without my accusation. Okay, let's get down to the studios.
Right. I'll be back to visit you soon.
Thanks. Thanks, guys.
To be continued.